All right, so we have arrived. Last time I'll do that, I promise. So this is going to be for the replacement sign for the hotel down there that we did before. So this is basically just a simple frame with some slide-in actual glass that lights up from the back. But the deceiving part of this is it looks simple enough that we just pull this off and put a new one on. But the fact that we're going to be trying to replace it with a shoebox design, which for those playing along at home is a larger like lid that fits over a part that's smaller, like a shoebox that actually gets put to the wall. And then it slides over it like a lid, and then we attach it from the sides. So normally it's not really that big a deal, but the problem is and it's kind of deceiving, this is actually a 3-inch piece of flashing that's going to completely cover the top of the entire sign, and it actually covers up the side here. So we don't have access here, and we won't have access to hardware unless we make it deep enough to poke out. It doesn't look like much, but it's actually 3 inches deep, which is quite large. We have basically have clearance at the bottom. It's about a foot, but that's plenty of room for our guys to work. And then we also have on this side, we have access, but it has to kind of look good because this is the left-hand side and this is the side you pass the Dutchie on. But you can see where this flashing, so it has to kind of be bigger than that. Want to keep this looking good, but we want to get rid of this and bring that in. The other problem with this is this whole thing is near as makes no difference 20 feet long, and it's 3 feet tall. And they don't want any seams, and it has to look really sexy. So there's that issue. And so when you're dealing with the shoebox design, just like a shoebox, the lid is usually pretty floppy because there's not much to it. It's just a 4 sides and it's just flat on there. So my brain's been melting on this one to try to come up with a solution that just doesn't give us one big floppy thing that install is going to fold up like a taco or whatever while we're trying to build this thing. So anyway, so that gave birth to what we have here. I went through some iterations, and I'm actually going to talk about this in a different video. It's kind of cool, my process, if you guys want to playing along at home, want to see what's up with that. But what I settled upon is this. And so with that being said, let's get after it. Let's do the lay of the land. So we got ourselves our frame pieces all the way around. We got our kind of C channels to the front to stabilize the face and all that. So look out for all that. Because there's so many jiggies and they're kind of involved, they got their own page. So there's all your jiggies. And then we got the backer parts, which are going to be fairly straightforward, similar to what we do, except it's not going to be fully enclosed. We'll go over that. The 2 big faces with pushies. This little guy here is going to replace what's already existing. There's a double banger France that's inside from back in the day. It's inside the kitchen, so we're going to replace that with this guy here. And then this is going to be the white. Look out for these pieces there. And we're going to have our pushy backers. And we're going to be doing 1-inch acrylics, and it's going to be a la Illuminaire style, except it's not going to be acrylic or aluminum on the face. It's just going to be acrylic. But I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some of this because I think Jim likes this now. So now everything is going to have that one thing stuck to the other. So probably be ready for this. You're going to have an install pattern for that. And so here we are. All right, so since we just did K-pop and you guys did center stage, things like that, I think we've done something similar to this already. But because this thing's so big and we need to stabilize the seam here, and the fact that we have these push-throughs that take up almost 8 feet of the sign right here, there's not going to be any structure. So I had to create a frame that was going to be strong enough to put up with. You know, what would be nice is kind of similar to where I have Rosie the Riveter here, that 4 people would carry this thing, sort of coffin carry it on the sides to support it. But I know what's going to happen is just 2 people are going to get on the ends here, and they're going to try to carry this span of 20 feet. And there's a good chance without anything here that this would just fold up like a taco. So what I did is I overdid the jigs here to give this whole structure right in here a lot of excess strength. Because this thing's so big, the frame is going to be broken into 3 pieces. So in order to make those pieces nice and strong to put up with the overall, but the faces will be in tension and compression. So that's going to help do a lot of shear load and all that. So anyway, we should be fine. So what you're going to do is bend everything up. And then you're going to go ahead and tack in your corners like we do. And you're going to go ahead and slide these guys in. And then that's going to give you your parts here. And you're going to do that. And that's going to be all face stabilization. And then those are just going to butt up to the inside of that kind of asymmetrical C channel there. So that'll be there. These guys will bump up, and you'll have that C channel all the way along the face there. So you're going to go ahead and get this face frame, sort of get these corner jigs all in, get these guys. And then when you're ready to bring these together, you're going to get these bent up, and then you're going to have one giant Lord's party. And you're just going to super Lords these in all the way along here. And then you can go ahead and do countersunk rivets on the outside just to stabilize those. And then you're going to go ahead and do regular rivets all along the inside here. I have those lined up all along the inside. And then that's going to make that nice and strong. So that way, when there are people on the ends here and there's no support in the middle, when they go to carry this thing, hopefully it has a fighting chance of being nice and rigid. And then there's just a smaller version of that at this seam. So you're just going to bend this up. This looks a lot like K-pop. You just saw that. So, but then go ahead and shoot your rivets, regular rivets on the inside, and you can do rivets on the outside, but do a countersink just to make sure nothing goes anywhere. The seam one is marked for the seam because it's doubled up for the face. And then that way the face is nice and stabilized. And so, the idea is essentially I have a cabinet here that if it was by itself, it really wouldn't need, basically there's the cabinet, right? But because we need to fill up 20 feet, really all of this is just sort of like this weird add-on. So if you kind of flip it around from it being, the mounting method is shoebox, but essentially it's this cabinet is all that it really needs to light up. So this whole half is just filler. So in order to do that, I kind of made this little tray. And so you're just going to put this together and rivet this together. And then the tray mounts directly to the backer. And so when you go to build the backer, you're going to have these 3 inserts very similar to K-pop when you see that coming up, except they only need to be here, here, and here. So reference this one, and you'll know that the LEDs go just on these 3, not the very end, but these 3. And then that way the tray will kind of hang off. But then what happens is the tray here in purple will almost meet the face. So what I'm hoping is we won't get light leaks. So when they go to bring on the face, the shoebox face, it's just going to go right up and seat up against there. And the push-throughs should fit inside. So you can see there, that's going to be the LED tray. And the push-throughs will fit in there. So essentially, we're creating this tiny little illuminated cabinet within this giant superstructure to fill up the whole spot. So that's kind of the whole idea. So, and as far as the backer's concerned, you're just going to bend these up, and then you're going to bend these up, and you're just going to go ahead and tack those on to the backer. The backer stays in 2 pieces. Install is just going to meet those up. It's going to give them a self-leveling, whichever one they put on. I would suggest putting the left one on, and then that way they can just rest this, and it'll give it all level. But again, just come over here and keep an eye out that it's basically the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th one on the left that gets the LED tray mount treatment, and you're just going to rivet that in. So that's all that is for that. So you're going to get this all built. You're going to get this all set up. And then at some point, all you're going to do is just shoot studs, and you're just going to Lord's faces on. And then that should take care of this. And then that should take care of the backer. And you can see the constraints, like this right here is essentially the 3-inch flange. So the face will stick out another inch. And then these little screws, you'll have just barely enough to catch where these go. Oh, yeah, you're going to take these guys here and you're going to rivet these to the inside of this. So you're going to get that prepped. So take that guy, put it in there, rivet it before you weld these on. And then that's going to be how the face actually, you can see how much it pokes out. And then I have it carved out so that way all the innards miss. So when you go to slide that on, it should miss. So it's a true shoebox, but it's super funky, all that. So when it comes to this guy, this, like I say, this is what we're going to do for Luminaire, except instead of, there's a lot of surface area. So in order for us to have hogged island fill all this down to do the little nubbins, that would have just taken too long. So you saw I brought in those acrylic rods. You're going to go ahead and cut those down to 3/4 of an inch You need 32 of them. And you're going to go ahead and thick glue those into the actual push-throughs that have flanges. And then I went ahead and made these a little oversized. And you're going to go ahead and just either silicone or thick. I don't know what you guys did on the other one. Well, you've probably silicone those. But the fact that these are acrylic and these are acrylic, you can choose to either do silicone or thick glue those faces onto the other faces, a la luminaire. So, but instead, like I say, we're just doing little studs. You're just going to have to cut little studs. So, and then the eye is symmetrical. It can flip, it can spin, whatever, you know, so that we don't have to worry about that. So, and then it's just all pushy. So, and then, like I say, this guy here, that's inside already. They're just going to be placing that France double banger. So, I think we might even have one of these on the shelf, but if not, get this cooked up for them, and they're going to swap that out because I think we're using Sloan's right now, the Benelux. So anyway, so I think that's it for this one, for the Luminaire shoebox. Just make sure everything's all welded up good. And, oh yeah, make sure the corners as well, because all we got is this, you know, tacked together here. Make sure, because these are going to be handles essentially. So make sure you throw some good stitch welds right in here. Make sure these 4 corners are really welded up really well. We don't want them popping apart. So just pay attention to that really good. So, otherwise I think we're good. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Check the